Welcome back to Seasons, Thriving in the Seasons of Your Life, a YouTube devotion series based on my book by the same name, and you can get that book on Amazon in Kindle form or in paperback. And if you want a PDF copy and you cannot afford to buy the book on Amazon, email me. You can go to my website and you'll find contact information there. My website is catherinewalden.com. So today we're actually going to talk about an actual season in the book named Seasons, the first signs of spring. I live in a northern climate. I live in Alberta, Canada, and our first signs of spring are definitely different than further south. We don't look for the first buds of flowers, or we don't look for the sweet sound of birds coming back to our neighborhoods. No. One of the first signs of spring in my city are potholes. What are potholes, you might ask? Well, potholes are little divots and sometimes not so little divots in streets. Potholes are caused by water trickling in little cracks in asphalt and pavement. And those little trickles of water freeze, and when it begins to thaw, it expands, and that causes asphalt to pop out. And so they're called potholes, and they are the bane of anybody who lives in a northern climate. We as pedestrians and people who drive cars have to learn to be very cautious, because you never know how deep a pothole is going to be, because they're quite often filled with mud and melting snow. Case in point. On a mild evening in March a few years back, I was restless and I decided to go to my local supermarket. I traveled in autopilot that evening because I knew that route really well, so I was thinking about what I needed to buy. I barely noticed a puddle in the left-hand turning lane of the street that I was about to cross in my power chair, but it didn't look too deep. I didn't pay much attention to it. After all, I'd been across there just a couple of days earlier. I forged ahead and found myself stuck in the ice that lay below the watery surface. Try as I might, I could not free myself by backing up or revving my power chair forward. Thank goodness for a good Samaritan who helped me free my chair so I could continue along my route. I fell victim to my presumption that what was once a trouble-free path would always remain a trouble-free path. I had allowed myself to grow lax in my familiar surroundings, and I failed to stay alert to potential problems that might lie ahead. I'm a creature of habit, and I bet you are too. I lay my glasses in the same place every night. I sleep on the same side of the bed. Mattress makers know that about us. Not necessarily where we lay our glasses, but that we usually sleep on the same side of the bed. And that's why they ask us to flip it. They figure it is easier to get us to flip a mattress than it is for us to sleep on the other side of the bed once in a while. God, who created me, also created the seasons. The daily rising and setting of the sun, the predictable coming in and going out of the tide. He set forth his divine path, bringing chaos into order. However, the same Lord, the God of order, cautions me not to place my confidence in the familiar, as the familiar can lull me to dangerous complacency. He wants me to stay alert and remain flexible, keeping my heart and my eyes open to changes he might add to my daily itinerary. Proverbs 16, verse 9. The heart of the man plans his way, but the Lord establishes his steps. Here's a personal application. In the next few days, shake things up. There's a famous quote, and I cannot remember who actually spoke it, but they said every morning they asked Holy Spirit a question. Good morning, Holy Spirit. Where would you like to take me today? Start asking Holy Spirit that question, and then go where he would like you to go. What does that look like? Begin to shake things up a tiny bit in your daily routine. Take a different route to work. Sit in a different pew at church. It might cause a ruckus in your church, but do it anyhow and get to know new people. Maybe they have some things in their lives that they can bring into yours, and maybe you can minister to them. If you've been reading the same devotional for the last few years, get a new devotional. If you've been reading the same Bible translation since you were a child, consider getting a devotional that uses Bible verses from a different translation. I know I may be rocking the boat on that one a little bit, but the point is, we can become so familiar in reading the same Bible passage in the same Bible translation that we miss the nuances and the fresh manna that the Lord wants to speak to us through that word. So today, don't be afraid. Shake things up a little bit. Come out of complacency and remember, a well-trodden path is not necessarily always the safest for you to walk on.